Welcome everybody to the Q3 meeting for the National Society of IT Service Providers. This is Karl, and we're going to go ahead and kick this off. Few notes. This meeting is open to the public and anyone may attend, including non-members. It's being conducted in accordance with our Code of Ethics and our mission, vision, and values, which are on the NSITSP org website. If you do not wish to be on the video, turn off your camera. If you do not wish to be on the audio, please turn off your microphone. And I might ask somebody from Chicago to turn off his camera as well. So you can find the recordings after this. They'll be posted at nsitsp.org/meetings. And there we have the recordings. We put them up on Zoom as well. So follow our Zoom channel, which is just their new thing is @NSITSP, but I'm not sure why they did that, since nobody needs the @ in order to find us. But anyway, that's where we store our stuff for now. Anyway, we shall see what the future holds. Today we're going to talk, we got our regular stuff, some reports from Amy and myself, introducing our new association management company, and then reports from the committees and lots of actually cool stuff. We are so busy, we can't hardly see straight. So with that, I will turn it over to Amy for notes on the industry and her new explain your picture here, which isn't really you.
It is really me. We'll talk about that another time, though.
Okay.
I did use an AI service to generate some new headshots, but it generates headshots from your existing photos, so it's pretty cool. Maybe what I'll do is I'll write a little blog post about it.
That would be excellent.
Good.
All right, let's flip to that next slide. All right, so the board did some really interesting things this quarter, and I don't want to steal what's going on because a lot of it bubbles up from the committees because that's the way that we're organized here. But a few of the decisions that we made are on the board here, and I wanted just to highlight it, and then we're going to hear more about them as the meeting goes on. Board made the decision to allow in-kind vendors to come in at the friends level, and this is for those that help actively promote our organization, provide booths at their events that can be quite pricey otherwise. And so so we're going to reward that type of activity with the friends level vendor membership for those in-kind donations. We also really took some time to work on our value proposition, which we're going to be working on for our marketing program and membership drive that'll be coming in cooperation with our new association management company, which you will hear about. The legislation committee has got some proposed legislation they're going to hold a special meeting on, and Dennis is going to tell you more about that. I also wanted to highlight the AI roundtable and the webinars that the marketing committee has put together because they're absolutely phenomenal and are things that are just not found elsewhere in our industry. So I want to be sure everyone is aware that those are happening. Last quarter, we reported that we started to have some meetings with CISA. And this quarter, we got an invitation to join one of their committees officially as members. So that's exciting for us. And we hope that that's going to continue, and we're pursuing other committee membership positions as well. And Chris is going to have more information about that. And, you know, the big drum roll here is that we have hired a professional management team for the association. And as you heard last quarter, Karl is stepping down as executive director, and we've hired his replacement. And Karl is now an ex-officio member consulting with the board as of August 1st. They both start with A's. So those are just items that I wanted to highlight that the board worked on this last quarter, and that you're going to be hearing some more of from the committees here as the meeting goes forward. So thank you.
Very good. Thank you. And I just want to assure people I'm not going anywhere. I'm just changing the nameplate on my desk. So and working a lot less. I think most of you know I'm fundamentally lazy. So a few stats, we have 200, as of this morning, 235 paid professional members, plus now in the last couple of months, 43 company memberships. And the beautiful thing about that is companies can have all of their members join as associates. We only have 8 of those associates who are currently logged on. So I would encourage all of the company memberships to go ahead and have your employees log on as associates. Associates can access everything on the website, attend the meetings, download stuff, do whatever they need, use our logo on their business cards, so forth. They just can't vote. You get 1 vote per company. But pumping up those associate memberships will help us when we go out and try to get, sponsors and so forth. Please pay attention to that. We also have 312 registered guests, many of whom are on this call, all of whom should pony up at least $125 for an individual membership or $150 for a company membership. The price is cheap. And if you're actually interested in helping our industry, the little bits add up very, very quickly. And, we're going to have another tough year for the next year. But I think if we continue to grow, we will be in great shape. I just recently went to both events for ASCII and CompTIA, and ASCII claims 1,400 members and CompTIA 2,400 IT service provider members. Those are both very small numbers. I mean, if you think about it, I was talking to Jerry from ASCII, and I said, between the two of us, we have represented almost none of the IT industry. So, the possibility for members is incredibly high, and we need to just do it. In terms of finances, we have 65 renewals in August. So we will have kind of a nice little bump here. And then for the rest of the year, 10, 20, 30 per month. So take this opportunity to convert your membership to a company membership if you can. Certainly move from the old system to the new system. If you have any questions, send an email to service@nsitsp.org, and we will assist you in making that happen. So it really is time for everybody to step up. We've been doing this for a couple of years, and some people have told me specifically, I'm waiting to see if it's going to take off. It's like, well, okay, we got almost 2,000 people on our mailing list. I don't know what you're waiting for, right? So please join us now. And now, ta-da, I want to introduce Nicole Singleton, who is with Boulder Strategies. And we're going to talk to Chris a little bit about this, but our executive search lasted months and months, and we talked to many, many people. And Nicole graduated with a business degree, I believe, from University of Michigan, go Blue. And she also has a PhD from Walden University. So she is very, very well qualified and has been running, even though she looks quite young, she's been running Boulder Strategies for over 20 years. So welcome, Nicole, and thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you so very much, Karl. And thank you for thinking. I mean, I'm a PhD candidate, not yet. I'm coming up on defending my dissertation soon. So I'll be Dr. Nicole soon, but not soon enough. I will say this industry association management is perfect for me because I committed my life to being a professional student. I also have 3 master's degrees, MBA in market strategy, a master's of applied communication, and then my master's in divinity. So commitment to continued education and professional development. I represent a team that's headquartered out of Denver. We have other satellite offices across the country. The company has been in existence almost 22 years. And I do have a colleague that's online who serves as one of our project coordinators, but we do have team members across the country. We currently work with a little less than 30 national and international associations, professional societies, and medical societies. But today we're very proud to now be a part of the NSITSP family. We're so excited to really bring to bear for NSITSP kind of lessons learned and best practices that we've garnered from working with diverse industries to further build upon what you all have started establishing in the last 2 years. And as I listen to the membership numbers and the potential for membership growth, we're excited to be a part of helping drive that forward. No, Karl doesn't get to go anywhere. He said he's working less. He's probably working harder because I've been trying to figure out how to get everything from his head to mine. I don't know yet how to do that, but know that we're working diligently to learn all things NSITSP. Moving forward, we will have just one centralized email communication that will be service@nsitsp.org. Instead of multiple emails, I know that you'll become familiar not only in name, but face with the team that's assigned to support NSITSP on a daily basis. But again, and I will put that in chat, we do ask that all communications moving forward will go to the service@nsitsp.org. We applaud the selection task force because, as Karl indicated, there were several months put into that evaluation and issuing RFPs and reading through RFPs. And we know that that's a diligent process because it really does impact the future of the organization. On behalf of all of Voter Strategies, know that we are truly committed to embracing the mission and really being the hands, feet, and helping to provide that brain power too, to continue to push the organization forward. So thank you so very much for selecting us to partner with you.
Very good. Thank you and welcome. By the way, I've been a PhD candidate since 1986. So, you know, you can take as long as you need to.
So you know the pain there.
Well, at some point I had to go get a real job. So a huge thank you. Amy had mentioned that we are giving some in-kind memberships. The Channel Pro has been very supportive, as well as the channel company letting us have a booth at Exchange. ChannelWise did some coaching stuff with Amy and Jeff Ponce and I in May, and TechFest is having us at all of their shows. So a huge thank you to these folks. And, you know, when you attend these events, please thank them for being kind to us. And, you know, what our next step is to try to get them to encourage all of their members and attendees to not just drop by the booth, but also join us. We have some recorded webinars. If you have not looked at our stuff, please go to nsitsp.org and just look around, especially if you go to the meetings, you'll see there's a recorded meetings subfolder, and we have lots of them, including the amazing training that Peggy Tierney Galvin did on press relations, which is members only, and you know all of the recordings are members only. And then Larry Mandelberg last month did the change management and a really great introduction to an organization that I think all of us can benefit from. So, you know, go check those out. Those are resources for you to take advantage of. And I know some people filter our email, you know, right to the side and never get back to it. So take a minute and go check out our website. Next up, the marketing committee has an AI roundtable coming up that is next week on the 17th. And they're going to do a series of roundtables, and they decided the first one is going to be on lead management and so forth. And so Steve Kazan is putting that together along with the entire marketing committee. So again, go sign up for that, nsitsp.org/events. We also have the legislative committee is going to focus in on this a little bit later in their section, but the Legislative Committee next week is going to have the first of an open Q&A section. Part of what they want to do, and if you read the blog post that or the event that came out at /events, Dennis put together a great paragraph that said, look, we are committed to educating people on the entire process but also in a way that is practical and gets us involved. Someday there's going to be legislation, but that's not the day to start building relationships. The day to start talking to a legislator is yesterday. The second best day is today, right? So please go to our site and check this out, attend this. You're going to see why you're going to want to attend. There might be some controversy around this first meeting, and I'm okay. I completely welcome that. I think a lot of our focus in this organization has to be not to just get a bunch of people together and enjoy being together, but to change the industry, to increase the standards. And whether some people like it or not, there needs to be a velvet rope that gets people into this organization and into this industry. And there need to be standards, and there will be standards one way or the other. I think we should be involved in creating them. So please check out that meeting, and Dennis will have more about that later. Huge thanks to all of our vendors, and there should be more logos on here. At least one person I saw joined early, and I'm going to be contacting him and saying, hey, you bought me a beer, now you should buy a membership, right? So we need our vendor sponsors to renew, but we also need more vendor sponsors. So that's going to be a huge push in the next year. And so thank you to all of these. I know of at least one more logo that'll be up there next month, but we need more and more and more. So please keep that in mind. Looking forward, mark your calendar now. November 8th is our next all-member meeting. We do the second Wednesday of the second month of each quarter. So in November, we have our next member meeting, and a ton of stuff is going to happen between now and then. We have the marketing committee has at least one webinar every month between now and then, and we have our elections. So right now is election season. Filings are open right now. Anyone who wants to serve, there are openings on all committees and the board. So roughly half of all of the bodies are up for election this year. So that's our deal. We try to do about half of the people elected each year for a 2-year term. So we have some consistency going forward, but we also have the opportunity for some turnover. So if you have been thinking that you might want to serve on a committee or on the board, now is a great opportunity to jump in. Filing closes August 31st, and then campaigning, which I already saw somebody who I won't name, but great promotion on LinkedIn of, hey, I'm running for office. This makes you look good to your clients. This is actually not a bad marketing tool to go out and say, hey, I'm running to be one of the leaders of this professional association. Spread that on your social media, on Facebook and LinkedIn, and let your clients and prospects know that you are a professional in this industry. And then the voting is September 14th to the 22nd. And so basically, let's say there's 3 positions open on the board. I will announce who those 3 top vote getters are in a blog post on that Saturday. So voting went very smoothly last year. And we already have people who have signed up and are running for office. So just go to NSITSP.org, and you're going to see a bright yellow banner across the top. You can click to run for office. You can also look at who has already filed by clicking on Meet the Candidates. So basically, the yellow banners on that page, on that website, are all about the elections. And now, Mr. Christopher Barber, who is one of our board members, but he's also been our representative with CISA and has been instrumental in working with CISA and getting us represented on the small business subcommittee. Chris, are you here, and is your microphone on?
Yep, I'm here, Karl.
I know you were here earlier.
Yeah, I'm definitely here.
So what's up with CISA?
Oh my goodness. All right, folks. So a lot going on here. I believe in brevity everywhere you can do it. So I'm just going to try to plow through this. So things are humming along, albeit at the speed of government. So we've determined as an organization that there are 2 ways that we should engage with CISA. initially. So this doesn't represent everything we're going to do with them, but this is just a way to get the party started, if you will. And I'm happy to report that CISA agrees with us. So those two different ways are getting NSITSP members in the work groups that they have. So this is a slow moving process, like everything with the government. But I'd like to start collecting interested NSITSP members for this. So if you're interested in participating in one of the work groups, Karl's got a URL up on the screen there where you can see the different work groups that are available. So if you don't mind, if you're interested, take a peek, see what work groups speak to you, and then shoot me a quick email, chris@cheaperthanageek.com, that you're interested. And I will do what I can to get all interested parties involved. We'll have to see, what the response rate is like, but shoot it to me. I'll get it going. We're not quite where we need to be yet with CISA on this, but we're getting there. So I figured might as well have everybody ready to go so that when we get the word, we're good to go. I'm talking to these folks on average every 3 days. So it's pretty frequent communication. And then the other way that we've identified a way to interact with them is CISA, as you might expect with their acronyms, is a very acronym focused organization. No slight, of course, to the NSITSP, but everything they talk about is acronyms. So another way that we're going to get engaged with them is called the ESF collaboration, and that stands for Enduring Security Framework, folks. So this is a collaborative organization between NSA, the National Security Association or agency, and CISA. So it's been around for about 15 years, but only recently has this collaboration been a publicly discussed scenario. So they craft solutions around specific key areas of cybersecurity. Right now, those areas are software supply chain. We've all heard about how that can go haywire. 5G, identity and access management, edge computing, and also semiconductor ecosystem security. And everybody on this call realizes the value of all 5 of those current concerns. But they kind of winked and smiled and made it sound like there's going to be some more coming. So as that materializes, I'll keep everybody focused. So I did everything I could to get these folks interested, put on my team's tap dancing shoes, and I think I got them excited about working with us. So like everything else that we do, this is heavily centered on building relationships. So that's the current MO. I'm working on brokering in-person meetings with these folks, looking to get a tour of their facility. One of the folks on the call that's this big identity and access management guru is basically one of my neighbors. So we're having coffee sometime soon, but I want to get more of us involved in this process. So as soon as we can get that section off the ground, I'll let you know. And again, I'll be looking for volunteers that may want to participate in this. So we'll keep everybody posted. It's a mission that we found was easy to get the government excited about because we are a fabulous conduit for this nation's small business ecosystem. So again, a lot going on. Wanted to keep it brief, but that's what we have so far. If you have questions, comments, concerns, feel free to email me. Feel free to call me. We're all in this together. And here's to making more progress. We've made a lot of progress in a year. So we're going to keep plugging along here.
Very good. And thanks for, Larry posted your email. So perfect.
Thank you, Larry.
It's funny when I filled out the paperwork for the first committee with CISA, they were like, we want these people, these people, these people. And they said, and kind of one of their aspirational requests is if there is a nonprofit association that represents small IT service providers. I'm like, check, right? So they literally were looking for us. So that's the beautiful thing.
Yes, sir. This is going to go well.
All right. So I think Heather is not on the call, and that's okay. She's in Amsterdam and it's late in her day. But let me go ahead and introduce the committee chairs and what they're up to. And we're going to go ahead and kick it off with Tracy with the Finance Committee.
Hello, NSITSPers. Hey, I am the chairwoman of the Finance Committee, and what we're up to this month, going into the third quarter, we're working on budget for next year already. So we're reaching out to the other committees, trying to get an idea of what they would like to spend money on for the coming year. Also, we are short one member. So if you would like to join, I'm sure there'll be some information here at the end of today's meeting to tell you how you can volunteer. Keep in mind, I know it's the Finance Committee and it sounds like we're all into like a lot of accounting. You do not have to know anything about accounting. You don't have to know anything about QuickBooks or keeping up with books. You don't even have to be that good at math, because I'm not. All we want you to do is care about money and how we spend money. We like to watch the funds and make sure they are spent responsibly. If that's something that appeals to you, please join my committee. And we don't do just the budget. We also look for other ideas and talk to the board about other ways to raise money and manage money for the group. So back to you, Karl. That's what we're up to right now.
Thank you. And I would note the Finance Committee did major lifting on creating the new membership program. We have a new donation tab on our site, and that was completely from them. And so they're working on a lot of ways, ideas for us to bring money into the world. So anyway, that's great stuff. And we do have openings there. Plus, of course, those positions will be available if you want to run for office. Andy Higgins from the Marketing Committee, is he here? Or if not, we'll call on Steve. Steve was here.
Yeah, I'm here. All right. Yeah, so this is Steve from the Marketing Committee. I don't hear Andy, so I'll jump in. So the Marketing Committee is doing a few things. One of them is, as Karl mentioned, a stream of webinars. One a month, I think, is a reasonable amount. The first one's coming up next week. If you haven't signed up for it, please do that. It's focused on using new AI tools to drive marketing and sales strategies, plans, programs, activities for managed service providers. So it should be very specific. We have an expert in that area doing the presenting, and there'll be time for questions and answers. So that's the first one. Second and third, we've got a couple topics around more customer service, more marketing, and then, a lifestyle discussion about what to do after your MSP life. The other thing I should mention is an AI working group. So there were a handful of folks from the organization that wanted to get together to talk about the impact of AI on their businesses. And so we got together. We've had a couple different meetings. We're putting together a tool, a written document that includes links and articles and contacts in the AI space. And so if you'd like that to be shared with you, reach out to me. If you'd like to participate in that AI working group, we meet currently every other week. The conversations are relatively short. We just share best practices, information, resources around AI as well. So feel free to educate yourself and jump in and join us on those calls. And so with that, I think that's the report from the Marketing Committee.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Governance. So I don't see Jason or Lisa Marie on the call. Is there someone else from the Governance Committee who can give us a quick update? Don't be shy. All right. Well, so governance is actually, so they're the ones who finalize the dates and times and so forth for the election. And they're sort of mostly on hold for now, waiting to see what's next, whether we're going to do something with an ethics committee or whatever. So, the governance committee did a massive amount of work the first year in sort of propping up and creating the outlines of our entire organization. And so now they mostly just have the little details to take care of, but they also need members. And even though they do, they have less challenges ahead of them than the other committees, they do have quite a bit of work to do. Finally, I want to introduce Dennis from the Legislative Committee. And, we've been doing a little focus on each committee a little bit. So this month, this quarter, it's the Legislative Committee. So Dennis, why don't you tell us what you're up to, which is a lot.
Thank you. I'm Denis Wilson, and I appreciate the opportunity to have been the chair of the committee for a little bit over a year now. The Legislative Committee is tasked to build a knowledge base of active bills affecting our industry and to work at building a legislative self-advocacy skill set amongst our members, and to act as a recommender to the board of directors. We currently have 7 voting members, which has us at full capacity. We have another about 7 visiting members and a staff member as well. We have 4 project types that we currently are working on. The first one being that we follow the right to repair bills, the regulatory bills that affect MSPs, privacy legislation, and the like. For instance, the right to repair bill SB 244 in the state of California just got voted and passed the Senate, and now in the funding phase. And so that is going to be moving forward, and probably see that before the end of the year as to getting that turned into legislation here in California. We are planning to have a forum on the website that will maintain open communications about these bills with all the members, and set it up a two-way communication. So I will keep you abreast of that. The second area is guidelines for members to help with conversations and bills. These are printed and or videoed, so we have them in both formats. We have a guidance brochure on on working with legislators on the website currently, and we have 2 videos and a couple of draft documents in review. The third area that we're spending some time on is that we're starting the legislative Q&A Zoom meeting. We're doing that, we're starting this week, and we plan to do this monthly. This will be to provide guidance to members in an open discussion format, so they can come ask people who have a lot of experience in this, dealing with legislators, and what should you do, and all this kind of questions, so that once a month you've got some buddies that will be available to you via Zoom calls that really know what are going on and can help you get your questions answered. And the fourth area of projects, we currently are working on marketing communications collateral to assist our members. We have several in draft form that should be completed shortly. For example, things like what is an MSP? Since there is issues within the legislators, they don't seem to know what an MSP is. So we want to do the definition for them. Or another one is we are a small business working with thousands of small business. And the other one is, are you concerned about cybersecurity for your small business? That's one of the things that the legislators have often asked us, is if we would be available to give talks to small businesses in their areas, principally on cybersecurity. And so we're working on getting all the Marcom necessary to go ahead and make that possible. So 4 areas of projects. And let's take a look at an area that we've got currently right now. We've got a draft model legislation document that has been working its way through the committee. It's now in draft form. It is available on the website. Now, the self-advocacy skill set is extraordinarily important to the organization. We need to have knowledgeable members have conversations with state legislators. And as Karl mentioned, we need to have that conversation now before they start having bills hit the pipeline. We need to be, for the legislator, a known quantity, a known expert, somebody that they can depend upon to be able to help them define things, to come up with models that would work for us and work for them. So the newest guideline is the draft model legislation document that you might be able to use to start the conversation about what might be acceptable within a state bill, what would be acceptable to us, and what might be in terms of format and everything that goes into it acceptable for them. This type of document is often asked for by the legislators so they can see what it would be that their small business folks like us, what is acceptable to us as well. So this is a draft proposal that we are looking for constructive review and notes from our members. And the draft proposal, as mentioned, is on the NSITSP website in the resources area. And we're looking for your input on this document over the next couple of months so that we can get it tweaked here and there and get things moving along so that we can turn this into something real that all the members can use when they go talk to legislators. And that is the committee.
Thank you, sir. I will note a lot of what we're doing, everything meshes together. One of the first questions that Dennis got from a legislator when they started talking about all of this was, do you have somebody who can talk to the small businesses in my district about security, right? Which is a great way to start a conversation. It's great for your business. Like, we want to train our people up to, you already know about security, but we want to help train up members to be good speakers and to be presenters. The stuff the marketing committee did on talking to the media, right? You need to be able to have a certain skill set that may not be something that's naturally part of your business. All of this helps you with promoting your business and being seen as professionals with your clients. It's also the case, we sort of unintentionally have become the mouthpiece for our clients, right? We are, as Dennis said, small businesses representing small businesses. Our clients also don't have a voice in the legislature or in front of the media with regard to any of these issues. So, it all works together, and it's a huge, gargantuan undertaking, and it's just going to take some time. Quick notes before we move to open Q&A. You should have this memorized by now, but basically, if you're a registered guest, thank you for supporting us. Now it's time to step up. You can become a professional individual member for $125. Anybody on this call can be an individual member. If you want a company membership, that gives you one individual membership that can vote, as well as a certain number of associate memberships. So update your membership now. And if you have any questions, service@nsitsp.org will get you the answers. And with that, I'm just going to go back and forth with a few slides here, but all of these links, we have the join link if you want to join. We also have this decision tree, so take a screenshot of that. We're on Facebook and Twitter and all of the social media, so join us with those as well. We need more YouTube followers, to be honest with you. And on our site, a vendor should go to /vendors. Everybody should go to /events for all the stuff that we talked about today. If you have any questions or you need a little guidance on where to go or what to do, just send us a note and we'll be happy to help you out. With that, I am happy to open it to open Q&A, whether it's on the proposed legislation or anything else. Thank you all for being here, by the way.
Well, if I may, I had a full report on the executive search process. And
Oh, I'm
I
sorry.
don't need to- No, that's okay. I don't want to beleaguer it, but if nothing else, I just want to quickly say that was a very heavy lift. Karl put together a very good RFP. We got an incredible response. I believe it was about 16 very well qualified companies. The task force, which was board member Steve, I see on the call as well, participated and was a big help. And we whittled that down to 4 really great candidates. And frankly, folks, all 4 would have probably done a very good job. But as you can see, we picked Boulder, and we are super excited to work with them. So it was a long process. It went in a direction that I don't think most folks anticipated, but I believe it's a very good direction. And it's looking like things are going to really be happening. And Nicole, we're happy to have you involved and look forward to everything you folks can do to help grow our organization. And like Karl said, he's just changing the nameplate on his desk. He's not going anywhere. So I just want to thank the task force because it was very involved in months and months of hard work. So just wanted to thank everybody.
Yes, absolutely. And thank you for that. I mean, we did, I think it was April or something when we started actually laying things out. So it was a bit of a chore, and I really appreciate everybody who was involved on the task force. So thank you, sir. Other comments, questions, topics? Put it in the chat or just open your mic. Wow, I've never seen this group so quiet. I will throw out a note about the legislation. So this legislation is not intended to be something that we're going to give to a legislative body and say, please pass this. It is something that I think we can use to start a conversation. And, every state has a code for people who cut lawns or cut hair or do roofing or everything else. No state has a code that says computer consultant, IT consultant, technical consultant, or anything related to our industry. It's frequently we exist inside of consumer affairs or the Secretary of State's office or some other thing, maybe even small business. But there is not a code for IT consultants. And so the legislation that Ben Yarborough from Calyptics dedicated, I want to say at least dozens, if not 100 hours to, he really put together a great piece of legislation that is basically, it doesn't set up licensing, it just sets up registration. In other words, unlike a general contractor where there's licensing and tests and so forth, this is more like locksmiths who, at least in the state of California, a locksmith has to register with the state. I practice locksmithing and that's it, right? So, but it's enough so that legislators have a place where there's a natural place to look for things that are related to that industry. And people fear, oh, well, this is the beginning of setting up a higher bar to get into the industry. Yes, that's exactly what it is. If you look at the dark side of Reddit, you will see why our industry needs to be improved. And so, the improving the industry starts with saying, okay, we need people who are educated, qualified, certified, who take some interest in their own ongoing education, as Nicole said, right? A profession should have certain things. And so this is the beginning of that. And Keith has his hand up and James has his hand up.
I just wanted to elaborate on the point Karl was making. In my capacity doing consulting for the California State Legislature, and it is pretty rigid, and since I consult on curriculum for cybersecurity, the first run proposal was every company have at least one managing partner with a recognized 4-year degree from a technical university. DeVries and computer institutes don't count. They meant a real accredited university. And pass a series of tests based on specific, almost like a contractor. You're a cybersecurity guy, you're a desktop guy, you're a printer guy. And that would be devastating to many people in this business and to small business customers, because that would consolidate the service delivery to larger companies and higher rates. And legislators, once that's explained to them, they begin to understand it. But I thought it was important, or, to understand where they're coming from. Most of them are attorneys. You go to school, you get a JD, you pass the bar, you join an association, you're regulated, and you pay dues. Now, I'm going to be honest with you all, every legislator I talked to in numerous meetings, the pay dues part is something they really like. So I think that's going to become a reality at some point, especially in states like California, which have a Proposition 13, which limits the state's ability to increase taxes. So dues and fees become great income tax sources. Having said that, if we're not engaged, they're getting their information from attorneys, insurance companies, and big companies. So that was kind of my 2-minute elevator pitch.
Thank you, sir. James?
Hey, Karl. So I heard you talking about company memberships and associates. I went in while you were chatting there just now and signed up for a company membership.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Promptly invited the 2 folks in our company and said, go sign up for this. But my question for you is, does that allow them to then join the upcoming AI event? And if so, or if not, what other events can they join?
They can do everything except vote in a committee meeting or vote for officers or run for office.
Okay.
So they can attend all of this stuff. They can download the materials. And by the way, back to other stuff. So when Dennis talked about putting together resources, the legislative committee has handouts on how to talk to your legislator, introduce yourself to the legislator. The marketing committee's put together the trifold brochure. I mean, we got all kinds of handouts in the resources area. But anyway, yeah, so your members for your company can all be full participants except for the voting part. So, and the goal there is basically James's company and Microsoft each have 1 vote, right? So, we don't want to be dominated by larger companies. So,
Thanks, Karl.
And thank you, James.
yes. Steve?
Well, just on the subject of resources, we did some work last spring around the public relations webinar that we did to do some research on local news media. So if you have a local market and you want to talk to your local radio, TV, newspaper, we have that data and we're happy to share that with you to help you contact them, create relationships with those media outlets, and then offer up both your services and your expertise if they want to talk about cybersecurity, want to talk about any issues that are related to your business or your expertise.
I'll go next, I guess. One of the things that I would like to see this organization begin to do is to work on some sort of an accreditation program, or at least the very nascent beginnings of what may build in the future to become one. And I would like to hear some of your feedback in the idea and some of the ways we've thought of how to kick this off without becoming a full accreditation, but just sort of starting with something to get people used to the idea. Maybe to have a place on our website where your corporation can be verified that they exist in your state, right? That you're registered with, that corporation is registered and in good standing with the state. A way to track continuing education that you and your employees are doing, right? And have that badged in some way on the site as well. just sort of to get us inching toward the idea of an accreditation, so that those of us that are operating companies that are of more of a professional nature than some others have a way to demonstrate that and point customers to that. And we all know that we're, I think, all tired of competing against folks that are not operating in a professional manner. And so if we have some way to say to them, hey, I'm with the National Society of IT Service Providers, and you can see that, you know, they have verified that we exist in the state and we're in good standing with our state filings, and my staff, you know, does continuing education on a regular basis. It just something like that, right? That we'd be able to point our customers to, because one of the things that I identify is not only separating us from trunk slammers, but also separating, if you think of it from the customer's point of view, not only do they not know much about IT, but they really don't understand how to select an IT firm, right? And that this would help from a consumer point of view as well. So I'd be interested in hearing your feedback. This is a idea we've sort of kicked around, but we haven't organized into a committee or task group or anything like that yet, but it is something that I would like to get rolling. So what do you guys think of these ideas?
Well, you know, I love that idea. So, I mean, at a minimum, to be able to say, look, here's a little badge that says the NSITSP has checked me out. I have a business license in the state of California. I have a workers' comp. I pay my taxes, right? You know, it's not huge and it's not cumbersome. It's just one of those things where it would be a check mark that I take my business seriously, you know, and but beyond that, I would love to have a system of having continuing education credits where people eventually, we have tiers of membership and people completely volunteer to do it. Currently, on our current website, which may change, but our current website, your profile is public. So if you have awards or discussions or sit on a committee or whatever, you can literally send your clients to your profile on our site. And so you can, I mentioned LinkedIn, you can make it look a little like LinkedIn and brag yourself up there. And all of these things that Amy talked about would appear there. So this is an opportunity for you to look more professional and to say that belonging to a professional organization is part of your brand and part of your business.
It's just, if I can chime in, I've long said that we are no different from your lawyer, your accountant, anybody else who helps you run your business. The only difference between us and them is that they have educational institutions that will give them accreditation. They have organizations that will give them licensing. And I think that eventually our profession has to mirror that. We have to be on even keel with all the other professionals that help business people run their businesses. So I celebrate this effort and raise my hand to do anything I can do to help.
I think it's an education process. It's the same thing when I was talking with CompTIA and they asked me about their trust mark. I said, if we all know about it, that's great. It just doesn't mean anything. We have to let the public know and educate them on what this badging or certification means. And I think they'll be receptive. I think too much we have all these certificates and we like to be technical giants in our own little community.
Yeah,
and we need to educate people on what that is.
Yeah, MSP Alliance has a MSP Verify. They've got a bunch of levels of it. But again, nobody knows about it. So the badge doesn't necessarily mean anything to people, you know, visiting your website or, you know, listening to your marketing materials.
But see, as an organization, though, we could choose to spend some of our marketing dollars promoting that program to businesses.
Right.
And, you know,
and my point might be, you know, rather than reinventing the wheel and creating our own, kind of maybe rally behind one or the other, either CompTIA or MSP Alliance or something like that, is to really make that, a known, outside the insular industry we are.
I think that, Mark, that's a good idea. The problem is, for example, CompTIA, they're sort of like, nope, we're doing our thing. Either join it or don't. Have a nice day. And MSP Alliance, to be honest, they don't actually participate outside of their own organization. They don't go to events. They don't make themselves known. Nobody ever introduces themselves and says, hey, you should come and pay attention to us. So you know what I mean? Like, I'm not sure. I would love to have an alliance with them, but they would need to participate.
Yeah. I mean, I've spoken with Charlie Weaver, and he does his own thing. So I hear you totally. So yeah.
So, and to be honest, I don't want to do anything that somebody else is doing well, but I do think that this organization wouldn't have the members we have if we weren't trying to fill a gap that needs to be filled.
Hey guys.
Absolutely.
So to Amy's point, I think she's like basically saying, hey, look, if you're going to do, if we're going to do this, the actual program or certification that you do isn't really the main focus. The main focus is that you are doing something rather than nothing, right?
Right.
And so, making those connections maybe with a particular program or particular certification track or whatever probably isn't really the best way to do it. The best way to do it is you're doing any of these, right? Like just anything that actually promotes your professionalism, your continuing education. What it is maybe isn't so much as important as that you are actually doing these things.
I agree. Other comments, questions, suggestions?
No, I don't want us to lose sight of our primary mission. And I want to be careful that there's a need for people who are just a single person working out of their home, pretty amateur. For instance, I have zero interest in working in the residential space. And without those people, a lot of residential customers who have no one to go to. They have nowhere to go. Like if they knock on my door, I'm honestly not interested in working with them, but they need somewhere to go. And so, sending a message that somebody's not valid, I would be opposed to that. But I absolutely agree that vetting our members is a real positive, and making sure that they're legitimate businesses, that they have adequate insurance to protect their clients. Those are all, good things that I would support. I'm just more leery of creating an us versus them mentality of like, well, if you didn't get this education or certification, then you should be excluded from participating in our industry. I just don't want to go down that.
Yeah, I don't think we're saying that, Steve.
Okay.
I think it's more of, to be honest, if you were a one-person shop and you specialized on home businesses, you would still need to go train yourself up on how to be a successful business person, how to run your business appropriately. You would need to know what the security settings are, for Office 365. You would need to say, look, I actually participate in educating myself and taking my job seriously. So we would want to welcome them in with that and help highlight them as people who are actually focusing on being professional within their industry.
Yeah, and I
Not
think
everybody
it's okay to have a differential, right? So it doesn't exclude them from the industry, but it just does differentiate different levels of professionalism in the industry. Right. So I know several people who are very successful at focusing on residential and individuals rather than corporations, and they're very professional in what they do. And it is their company, it's their business, it's what they've decided to focus on for their market. They should have an opportunity to differentiate themselves from somebody's nephew who's coming over to help you with your computer, right? Just so the consumer understands who it is they're hiring. right? Like, why do you charge $85 an hour when the kid down the street charges me 25 bucks, right? They need to understand what they're hiring, just as in other industries. You know, I often use the example of a mechanics industry, right? I know that if I walk into Uncle Ed's oil change, I'm very unlikely to find someone who's qualified to work on the transmission of my vehicle or who's an electronics specialist. And I'm not expecting that because I know that I'm hiring someone to change my oil, check the tire pressure, right? And we don't have that in our industry. The consumer doesn't have that knowledge to make those intelligent decisions. And I think rather than keep somebody out, what we want to do though is create an environment in which the consumer has the ability to make smart decisions for themselves.
Amy just articulated everything I'm hearing when I talk to legislatures, and it's quite often I'm up in Sacramento, not on this, but the conversation rolls over. Understand their predicament. They're getting calls from their constituents that says, I just got breached, I have to pay ransom, and I've been paying this guy X number of dollars, and I thought this was taken care of. What they're looking for is to make sure that the dentist is not doing heart surgery. We're not looking to put dentists out of business. We're just trying to give them guidance and education as to say, there are different classifications in our business. There's no such thing as the computer guy who does everything, and help them understand where we are. And then we improve the standardizations. I encourage people to go into the home business and the under 25 user networks because I don't want it. So I get your point, Steve, but I don't want to refer people to those clients that negatively affect me either. That someone comes back and says, and so to have that good standardization and baseline, I think is healthy for all of us. I think every
should also,
our industry.
sorry, Keith.
No, go ahead.
I think that I think we should all learn the lesson of history. Many of our colleagues come from being resellers originally. Many of us, as Amy alluded to, took the time to invest in becoming professionals and to transitioning to a professional organization. Others did not. Others simply had MSP stamped on their business card, and that's about all they did. And unfortunately, we all pay the price because customers come to us having been quote unquote burnt. I think it's important to establish the fact that you call it the National Society of ITSPs was huge to me, because I think MSP has been so overused and so diluted and actually so damaged that, you know, I think it's important to promote the difference in terms of promoting certification from an organization like this, and to making it, you know, making it stand out, making it truly a difference through education, accreditation, perhaps even licensing. But let's work hard to establish that difference because it'll pay huge benefits for everybody.
Andrew,
Right.
do you have a comment?
I just see this as a pathway for members of this organization that would want to join because, hey, I could work my way through whatever courses we have, whatever webinars there are, to where I am certified in a way that I may not have other places. So I see it also as a draw for members to gain a level of professionalism. I am one of those that did not go get a business degree, and I'm not going to get one now, but I wouldn't hurt from benefiting from those who have that knowledge to learn how to do things better in my business. I see that as a great draw for members in this organization.
Amy, were you going to say something before I interrupted you?
Oh, I was just going to say, I was going to thank everybody for their input. This is one of those things that it's been forever on the horizon, but maybe we're inching a little closer to, we can work toward getting something implemented. So I I think I'll bring this up at the next board meeting and see how we might progress.
Very cool. Well, and this is part of the long-term vision of, our industry doesn't have an official internship track. We don't have an apprenticeship track. Many industries have that, where, there's some kind of path. Most of us on this call, I think, were one-person shops at one time, right? And I know I was, and I think the first 2 years of my business, I spent almost all of my time fixing other people's broken stuff, right? And fixing things that were done poorly by people who just wanted to get in, make a bunch of money and leave, and leave the client hanging. Now, that's a lot less common than it was years ago, but it still happens. And so you can be a one-person shop and be very, very professional and do things the right way. But we need a path where people can graduate from high school and college and choose to go into IT, and without getting a 4-year degree in computers, which isn't very useful in our job, they can have a path to actually becoming professional in this industry. We just need to start working on it, and it will emerge, and the right way to do it will emerge. So we're after the hour, so I don't want to keep anybody who needs to do something else. We've been fighting both CompTIA and Channel Pro today for attendance. So thank you all for giving us your time. I don't want to cut it short. So if anybody has anything else they want to talk about or bring up, we are absolutely open to it. So I'm here for you. All righty. Well, with that, I will thank you all. And Nicole will be running the show starting in 8 minutes. So thank you for all of your support over the last few years. And again, I'm not going anywhere, but my role will be changing slightly. And so I really appreciate everything you guys have done to make this organization as successful as it is. And we'll just double and triple and quadruple in the next few months, and we'll just keep going. So
Sounds like a plan.
So very good. All right. Well, we will get the recording up as quick as we can, and it will be at that /meetings link. So we'll see you there. And then please check out /events for all the stuff that's coming up in the next 2 weeks, because there's a bunch of it. So thank you all. And with
Thanks,
that,
everyone.
we are concluded.
Please hold while I try to connect you.